Hello, welcome. I'm Rose. I'm working further here in my studio summer journal. The information that I'm going to provide in this video is something that will work for any journal and will work with the Friday Freebie that is on my site right now. It has these frames. There's about 4 or 5 pages of frames. So I'm going to cover ways that I create some pockets with those frames and using the acetate and the transparency process. I show 2 ways that I do it, and I'm just showing you some of the finished pockets. I show 2 ways to do it, which is one is approaching from an element that you just can't live without that you would like framed, or approaching it from the design perspective of the frame. So this is really has a lot more in-depth information about my design process and the way I think when I design things and I'm placing them in my journal. So if you think that that information might be helpful for you, you'll not want to fast forward too much through it because a lot of my talking is explanation. I don't usually do that. If you like that approach of learning more about it, I can share that part of my process. I just so often actually delete it because it makes the video a lot longer. But I'm wanting to cater to the new people that are coming onto the channel. Really excited about that. And so thank you for joining me today. Please feel free to ask any questions, leave any comments that you have in the comment box as you go along. And if you have further questions, please join the Facebook group and ask us there. We're here to support you and to help you along this journey. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I wanted to work with today is on Friday, I put out a Friday Freebie that has a bunch of these frames in it. The Studio Summer Kit also has some frames. And I just wanted to show you how I was working with those in pockets, because today's video is all about pockets, but I'm also going to use these as one of the ways that you might use these frames is in making pockets. So let me just show you basically what I do. I put acetate in these, and part of the reason they could be used without acetate. Not every pocket would I necessarily want to do acetate, but I actually had a lot of fun in a mass make doing that. So what I've just done is just cut out the acetate after I cut out the frame and glued them. And then I did that for all of these. I used one of my favorite things here, this tape, because it's thin, and I'll probably use those in creating some of what I want to create there. It prevents the glue spillage that might come towards the center, and quite often that's happened to me. Like I couldn't do that on this one, so I had to be very, very careful. So if you do use glue, be careful how much you put. So these all just have the double-sided tape and then the acetate stuck on there. You could do the same thing with vellum. So that's what I'm working with the first part with my in creating these pockets. And the first approach that I'm going to take with the windowed pocket is to have the highlighted image that I want to see be the focus or the determining factor on how I design my pocket. And so what I'm going to do is I wanted to use some of these tags from my Studio Summer Kit. And I'm just going to pick out what I would like to see. Do 2 of them. I had kind of thought about that one. What I would like to see looking out of the pocket. I think that might be one. So I'm just going to do a couple of these to see. This one might be easier. So what I'm looking at is just basically what is it that I would like to see peeking out of my window. What will be displayed? Let's see. That one might be. I think on this one, maybe that one is just smaller. So what I'm thinking of is mostly, what does it look like as a finished little something on the front? So I'm going to do those three here first. This first approach is the first approach. There's a couple different approaches we'll take, but this is when you want to highlight, and you know already what it is that you would like to show peeking through your window. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera, and I'm going to cut out these 3 tags that I'm going to use, and we'll get to the next step. Okay, I've decided to just work with 2. We'll just do 2 because I have a lot of different things I want to show you today. And basically, yeah, we'll just do 2. So I'm going to be working with this sheet here. This is a 3x3 sheet. Most of my kits have 3x3s in them. This is like an ATC size. That's what I'm going to be using as my pocket base. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut out 2 basic pockets from there. And I think I also want to make these 2 floating pockets. So I'm going to, this is some of my favorite things to just grab from, got these from the dollar store. It's just a craft envelope. It's extra long, so it's like I think a number 10 envelope, but it's oriented a different way. I'm going to use something like this a couple of times in this video. You could use a junk mail envelope if you want, but I kind of like the size, and I like the way that it just kind of looks like that. So what I'm going to do is also right now, I'm going to cut my envelope into 3 pieces here. So just cut my envelope into 3. This is still the top, has this open. This is the centerpiece. This is the bottom piece. Okay. So the first one, I'm just going to go ahead here, and I think we'll place this one. Okay, one of the most handy things you can have when doing this is if you create, like on these, I've created a little cardboard template that matches the window, and it helps me to make sure that I'm going to be cutting out not too much and just enough. Okay, so I've done that with these different sized frames, made a little template for myself. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but I'm just going to go ahead right now and mark where I want, let's see, this to land. I think I want it to turn around, so hold on. I'm not going to go down further than about there, so and now I'm just going to place my little template in there, get it straight, and then I'll know basically about what I need to cut out. And this isn't you could make sure yours is square. I'll keep these with the frames because there's a couple of different sizes, but I've just made a little template there. You can use scissors to cut that out. It's really easy to do that just by punching here. I'm gonna also start here with a square punch just to help myself out. And I'm gonna cut smaller than what I think I need, and then trim it bigger. So let's see. That actually works. Okay. And it's nice if you use a punch, then you've got, I've got something else, another bit that's not just kind of a throwaway bit. And now all I'm going to do is glue this down. I'm going to use double-sided tape. Just peel the tape off. So don't forget, these frames are a freebie on the website. Yeah. They're a Friday freebie, so they'll be around for a couple of weeks there. Okay, so this is just the basis of the front of my pocket. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to kind of decorate now my front. See what I would like. Treat this part this far as something that needs, the whole piece needs attention. The important part in this is to kind of follow your own heart and do what your heart speaks to you. I felt like I wanted maybe a little more yellow, maybe. It's just not speaking to me. We'll figure. Okay, so let's move forward then. So I want to make sure that this is going to enter and leave the space exactly where I want. And this is kind of where the trick comes in. What I'm going to do is I need to first of all, pay attention to where this sticky part was. If I have any edges that are sticking up that are still sticky, that's really important to look at. And that's why sometimes I start smaller with the cutting than I need to, but I'm just going to reinforce this with some masking tape where I still have a little bit of the sticky. It's nice on the places in your journal or you're crafting or whatever that you have movement to make sure that you have enough strength there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is put this where we want. Let's see the tape just a little bit there. Place this where we want. So I'm going to want it to land right there. Okay. And this is where, not having a lot of wiggle room, I'm going to use my double-sided tape again. And I'm going to use a little bit thicker tape. You could use a thinner tape too, but I really want to make it like defined and clear for myself, and maybe anyone else that this is where this is going in. So I'm just going to put this here. And that way this will glue. I'll just use the smaller tape on the bottom. it creates a pocket, and we'll double check and see. It might be too short. It creates a pocket where you want to make sure that you're going to have enough room, and you can kind of double check and see. But if your tape is open enough on those sides, you basically get where you want. You can see I'm off just a little bit, which tells me I think I'm going to add another piece of tape just to guide it a little bit more. And you don't have to be perfect about this if you don't want, but for me the goal was to make sure that when I tuck in my tag, I've got kind of a complete movable piece. Okay, so we could, if we wanted, add some tape on either side and have another tuck spot. I think I'm just going to glue the whole thing down. So over on this side, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here too, so that the whole thing is kind of shut. Oh, I lied. When I don't use my art glitter glue for a couple of days, it needs extra love. Okay. Just gonna set this where I'd like. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. So this could get, you know, decorated more if you wanted. Add some lace, whatever. But the reason partly I like to make a floating pocket of some of these is that if I'm going to do a mass make for a particular journal ahead of time, what I can do is create some stacking pockets, or I know that what I can do, this here in of itself is a very easy pocket to grab onto, and that's partly why I liked these pieces. I'm going to do the other one, but I'm going to do it in faster motion than what I did this other one. This one here, okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to actually leave it open so that I have the choice afterwards of where I want, if I want to, what I want to do with it. And
lying in the field, held by flowers and sky. It took all the spring to come into bloom. Warm air through the grass, moving against my skin. Color, scent, and bird song folding me in. Grass shifting in the light, flowers opening wide, birds crossing the meadow on a warm, slow glide. All of it moving, all of it alive. It moves through the field and my heart replies. I feel it as it comes into view, clear and quiet, because I'm here. Every small detail shining where it is, sacred in its simple, ordinary bliss. Living from the heart, rooted and wide, lying in the field, held by the flowers and the sky. open center inside my chest, each quiet sensation settling to rest. Scent of the clover, warmth on my knees, breath moving gently through the taller weeds. What appears in its natural flow. I soften in the seeing and let my body know every small detail right here where it is, sacred in the simple, ordinary bliss.
And this is approaching your pocket design from the perspective of really you're going to create basically like with scraps with what you want, and then you're going to make your pocket and then choose what goes inside or create what goes inside for your pocket. Whereas the other one, what we did is we started with what goes inside. So now you're going to learn how to do it if you're going from the opposite design perspective. So these are ones that I've made just by using strips that were scrap strips, and they were just glued on. So we can do one together. So probably going to use this. This is quite often, oh, this one's different. Quite often my papers, when you purchase them, will have this little strip on the edge of it. So that's a lot what I wanted to be able to do, is to use those edges there. So I'm just going to remove the strips. Consider that my pocket. So one of the most important things here about this collage process is that it's organic, and I want to make sure that as I'm placing my strips down, that what I do is create a square shape in the inside so that these strips are parallel. It really looks the best when the edges are inked, and you can go ahead later once you get the basic strips on and decorate with tickets and other items, classic heads, things like that.
Sacred in the simple, ordinary bliss. Every small detail shining where it is, sacred in its simple, ordinary bliss. Living from the heart, open and wide, lying in the field with the flowers in the sky. Lying in the field, held by flowers and sky. It took all the spring to come into bloom. Warm air through the grass, moving against my skin. Color, scent, and bird song folding me in. Grass shifting in the light, flowers.
I wondered where this one went. I made this one earlier and then I just couldn't find it. So I think for this one I will cut and put these two together. These bigger ones that I've got, this has a saying already, so I just probably need a fairly decent sized tag. I may just, I was thinking about this, just cutting it so yeah. Set this aside. See, maybe not. Maybe the same one. It's a little thin. That's a little thin. I could even do this one right here. I may do that too. Though I don't want to do that with the dragonfly. So basically just start auditioning things. Like that. Get the idea. So on this one, I'm just gonna kind of measure where I want, what I'm gonna want to see, and cut enough off of my page. I can start to work with it individually. You might have a tag or anything. I'm just going to make this something that probably even more. Right now it's too wide. It won't slide into the pocket, so I'm gonna kind of just, I'm gonna trim it where I want, what I want to be able to see, and I'm not sure which one I want to see more. Probably right about like that. So you can see that what I'm gonna do now is just use my ruler to help me know I'm using these lines, and that's part of why I like this ruler. I don't have one of the, the mats set up right now, so it should help me right there like that. Probably pretty good. What I've done also is I've added the double-sided tape on either side of my pockets, so that because that's really predetermined, so that's how I've fit this down into my tag here, my tag shape. I know where that's gonna fall, but I also need something to be able to pull this piece out, so I need to think about that. Okay, for this,
Through the grass, moving against my skin, color scent and bird song folding me in. Grass shifting in the light, flowers opening wide, birds crossing the meadow on a warm slow glide. All of it moving, all of it alive. It moves through the field and my heart replies. I feel it as it comes into view, clear and quiet, because I'm here. Every small detail shining where it is, sacred in its simple, ordinary bliss. Living from the heart, rooted and wide, lying in the field, held by the flowers and the sky. This open center inside my chest, each quiet sensation settling direct.
Okay, so we've got these two now. And I'll show you how I'm going to end up putting them in my journal in just a second. I want to show you this one. This is made the very same way with the envelope. This is the bottom part of the envelope, but I cut it slightly larger so that it would hold this little guy that I created for this one. Okay, so this is these envelopes stacked. So let me just show you how I do that. This is one of them finished. So glue this down well enough. So this one, and we'll put it in the journal too. This one, the way that I left it, and I wasn't sure how I was going to put it in, but when I stick it into my journal, I'll either just add a little bit of glue here and then glue this whole thing down, or it could be a side tuck. You could cover this whole thing and make it a flip. But let me just show you why I like those floating pockets. And you can see that if what you do is just you don't have to make them a floating pocket, but I do like to, because sometimes when I'm in the mode of creating some, it's a lot easier to just make a couple like this for that particular journal. So when I use the envelopes, I like to really give myself as many options as I can, and I don't always seal them up depending on what I'm going to stuff in the pocket and what I'm going to do with the pocket. So this one, I need to decide what I'm going to put in the pocket and what I'm going to cover my pocket with. And I'm going to kind of now start to design them as one piece. And so let's see. Okay, so I've kind of made some rough decisions here, and I'm going to show you how I kind of take control of where things land, and just in the same way here, so that as I'm stuffing my pocket, I'm pretty intentional about where things land, so that something will, like for this example here, I want this to land exactly right here, so that it keeps my envelope closed. So I'm going to show you how I put this together here. I'm going to cover this with some of the scrap that I have. I'm not sure if this is... So let's do that. So you have a couple of different choices on this. I can cover the whole front, or I could give it the same treatment here, which I think I will kind of do that. And so all you do is, what I do is I measure what I want, and then I measure again so that it's twice what I want. Cut this out. Could have used another, I may do that. See what it looks like. It may look better. You know what? It may look better with, since we have it, let's actually do this. What I'm going to do, I want to have this kind of match, the edge match. So to get the edge to match, just going to place that where I want and then trace the edge. Ink. You can make this another pocket if you wanted to get fancy. However you want to do, but this is what's going to be showing, so. So these are going to go together like a double pocket here. I'm actually going to give myself as little possible, how do I say this? As much, let's see, measure it by this. We are going to want this to land about, maybe about, probably about like that, I think. So when we do that and turn it over, let's see, just gonna glue these together first. Make sure they're straight. So if I wanted to, I don't need to, but if I wanted to, so I think this will just sit right there just fine. I could utilize or make, see how this is bigger. It extends down. You choose, take control there, where or how you want it to be. So I was looking at the yellow matching here with matching here, and put a tag in there. Probably like, I don't know, maybe I only need those two. I may only just do those two. I think that's enough. So we'll have that, and then of course the envelopes. So I may put this one in there. Let's see. Okay, what I decided is I'm going to go ahead and use this one. I actually liked how this looked, the story sticking up. So I'm actually going to leave this open. And that's part of what I mean is depends on what you know, when you play around with things, keep in mind of what the design of the overall pocket looks like. And again, so I could also, when I put this on, so we can create pockets too when we place it on. So I could add, you know, glue like this and then slide something in here. It really depends. So let's place this in my journal. Don't have a lot going on yet, so should we place that there? So as I do, I think I will leave that as a pocket, and I'm not sure if I have something. I'm not going to worry about that with you guys right now, but I am going to show you that as I place this down, what I'm going to do is just add the glue on the 3 sides, and then I've created another pocket. That's another reason why I like to work with the envelopes. You can use junk mail envelopes a lot. That's another thing to do if you don't have, I had those, but I'm going to, since I left it open here, I think we'll, got a dangle there. Here. And this way I can have something that tucks in the side here. So I think I'll tuck this piece. So it's just a folded writing spot. I'm going to actually, instead of using it as a tag, I'm going to use it as a, what do you call it, a tab. So I'm going to fold it in half. I decided to do that right then because I might have forgot later on that I left a little tab spot there. And I won't consider this whole page complete, but it doesn't need a lot more. like that. Okay, so let's put the next one in. Okay, this one I'm going to make a belly band. Just going to remove the tag here, and by doing that, so this one I'm going to need some considerable, a little bit more than normal because it's all not just for construction sake, so I'm going to give a little bit thicker glue there, and then along here the same way, so that when I place it down, put it here. Got this. So I covered the back of this with book page. Slide this down in there. Oh, I wondered about that. I might have to trim off a little bit off the bottom because of how thick I made that there. I wondered about that. Yeah, we're okay. And so on this other pocket that we did together, at the end of the video, because I think you kind of get the idea, I'll show you where I placed it and how I decorated it. And for now, what I want to do next is move on to the next type of Okay, I have put these together off camera. Hopefully, I'll talk about any of the little pieces, and if you have questions or comments, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. So let's see. Let's start with this one. This one, so I think I'm gonna place it there maybe. Actually, I like the way it matches that there. So maybe there with this sticking out. Okay. I've got to find a place for this one. I think we'll put that one there. What I love with the double-sided tape is it becomes very easy to just remove the tape and not worry about anything else. Kind of hard, I wanted to show you when it comes to adding it with lace. So we'll see how strong this pocket is. Generally I use Fabri-Tac, so maybe I want the lace to hang off, so yeah, let's put it on this page. remember this one here. I need to remember to add writing space there. I'll put this one here. Let the lace and the box hang off. Haven't finished this yet. I'm going to make this into a writing spot, but I want to place that there, and just so I remember, this is a writing spot here too. This is coming up a little bit. Oh, I need to make a little adjustment. Let's see. Let's put it one pocket there. I'm actually thinking maybe we'll put it there. This has a writing spot in it also. Okay, this one I just thought maybe I might make it a flip. So I'm just seeing, these are dollar store envelopes again. And I could either make it a flip. Flipping down. Ooh, I'm thinking about this here. Should we make this a flip instead? I may do that. I'm not sure. Where's that caught my attention here? Yeah, I'm not going to complete the whole flip here with you guys here, but I want you to be able to see. I'm going to just use the envelope itself to create the flip. All right, and now it will flip down. And I'll attach my pocket here. And you'll always probably sometimes have to have a little bit of an adjustment. What I think is that my little ticket may need some cardboard behind it to help it to slide that far down in. Okay.
Spring to come into bloom, warm air through the grass, moving against my skin, color, scent, and bird song folding me in. Grass shifting in the light, flowers opening wide, birds crossing the meadow.